You know that feeling when everything seems too perfect, when the stars line up so perfectly that you start wondering when the other shoe is going to drop. That's exactly where I find myself right now, as I'm sitting here watching the Lakers dominate this season with a performance that honestly feels like something out of a fantasy league. I'm talking about a reality that seemed impossible just months ago. And yet here we are, living it every single night. But before I dive into what's really going on behind the scenes, let me tell you something that might change how you see this entire season. Welcome back to Lakers News Fan Report. I'm your host, and today I'm bringing you the latest updates and the most important analysis of what's happening with our beloved purple and gold. If you're passionate about this team like I am, you're in the right place because we're about to unpack something huge. Make sure you stick around until the end, because what I'm about to tell you will have every single Lakers fan questioning everything we thought we knew about the season's path. Let me paint you a picture of where we are right now. The Lakers are sitting at 19 wins and 7 losses. That's not just good, that's amazing. We're talking about a team that's real championship material. A squad that's making noise across the whole Western Conference. When you look at the standings, we're only 5.5 games behind the Oklahoma City Thunder for that wanted #1 spot. 5.5 games. That's nothing in the big picture of an NBA season. We've got the firepower, we've got the momentum, and most importantly, we've got something that very few teams in the league can claim to have right now. But here's where things get interesting, and I need you to pay close attention, because this is where the story really begins. I've been covering this team for years, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that what we're seeing right now is historic. Not just good, not just impressive, but genuinely historic. We're watching records fall that have stood for decades. We're seeing performances that put current players in conversations with legends who wore this jersey long before most of us were even born. Magic Johnson, Jerry West. These aren't just names. They're monuments in Lakers history. They're the base upon which this whole team was built. And yet, something never before seen is happening right now that's forcing us to rethink where these legends stand in certain categories. I'm talking about offensive output that's rewriting the history books, consistency that's almost supernatural, and a level of excellence that honestly makes you wonder how long this can really last. The numbers don't lie. And when I look at what's happening on the court night after night, I see something that should have every Lakers fan excited and scared at the same time. 34.7 points per game, 8.8 assists, 8.7 rebounds. These aren't just stats. These are the building blocks of an MVP campaign. These are the numbers that separate good players from great ones, and great players from legends. When was the last time we saw a Lakers guard putting up these kinds of numbers consistently? When was the last time we had someone who could take over a game when he wanted to, who could make his teammates better, while at the same time putting the team on his back? The answer is more complicated than you might think. And it's directly connected to what I'm about to tell you. Just last Thursday, something happened that sent shockwaves through the basketball community. Against the Utah Jazz, we saw a performance that was nothing short of spectacular. 45 points, 14 assists, a double-double that wasn't just impressive on paper. It was dominant from start to finish. It was the kind of game that makes highlight reels, that gets talked about for weeks, that makes legacies solid. But here's the big thing, and this is where history comes into play. With that performance, a new record was set. The most 45-point double-doubles by a point guard in Lakers history. More than Magic, more than Jerry West. More than any guard who's ever worn the purple and gold. Think about that for a second. We're talking about a team that's had some of the greatest basketball players to ever touch a court. And yet right now, in this moment, we're watching someone reach heights that even those legends couldn't reach in this specific category. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh, this should be a celebration, right? This should be the moment where we all collectively lose our minds and start planning the championship parade route. And don't get me wrong, part of me is absolutely thrilled about what's happening. I watch these games and I feel that same excitement I felt as a kid watching this team compete for titles. But as someone who's been around this league long enough, as someone who's seen how quickly things can change in professional basketball, I can't help but notice certain patterns coming up. I can't help but see signs that maybe, just maybe, this perfect scene we're living in might not last as long as we hope. Here's where I need to be completely open with you. The MVP race is heating up, and our guy is right there in the middle of it. According to the latest rankings, he's sitting at number 3, behind only Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikola Jokic. Third place in the MVP race while leading a team to 19-7. That's incredible. That's the kind of season that players dream about, that teams build around, that fans remember for generations. But here's the truth that nobody wants to talk about. Being in the MVP conversation, performing at this level, breaking records left and right, all of that comes with attention. And attention in today's NBA means something very specific. It means other organizations are watching. It means agents are doing the math. It means that the current situation, no matter how perfect it seems, is always just one conversation away from changing completely. I've been doing this long enough to know when something feels off. It's not about doom and gloom. It's about reading between the lines and understanding how this business works. When a player is performing at an MVP level, when they're rewriting team history, when they're doing things that even the legends couldn't do, there are always results. Sometimes those results are positive, championship rings and statue unveilings. But sometimes, and this is the part that keeps me up at night, those results involve hard decisions. Decisions about fit, about timeline, about getting the most value both for the player and the organization. Decisions that fans don't want to hear about, but that happen every single season across the league. Let me be very clear about something right now. At this very moment, we have a real chance at winning it all. The pieces are in place. The record speaks for itself. We're 5.5 games back from the top spot, with plenty of basketball left to play. In a perfect world, and I mean genuinely perfect, we're looking at a situation where this amazing run continues straight through June, where we're celebrating championship number 18, where our star is holding up both the championship trophy and the MVP award. That's the dream. That's what we're all hoping for. That's what keeps me watching every single game with the same passion I had 20 years ago. But I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't talk about the big issue in the room. I wouldn't be serving you, the loyal fans who watch this channel for honest analysis, if I just fed you happy talk without accepting the reality of modern NBA dynamics. So, here it is, the moment you've been waiting for. The reason I asked you to stick around. There are whispers, and I want to stress that these are just whispers at this stage. But there are conversations happening that suggest this perfect situation we're enjoying might be more fragile than we'd like to admit. I'm hearing things that show not everyone is convinced this is a long-term plan. I'm seeing signs that even with the success, even with the historic performances, Even with everything going right on the court, there might be problems growing under the surface. Now, before anyone panics, let me give some context. This is a 26-year-old superstar in his absolute best years. This is someone who's already a 5-time All-Star, who's proven he can perform at the highest level, who's showing the basketball world exactly what he's able to do. When you have a player like that, when you have someone performing at this level, you have to understand that their market value is huge. You have to understand that every single team in this league would love to have this level of player leading their team. And you have to understand that in professional sports, loyalty is great, but it's not always the deciding factor when big decisions need to be made. The question that's starting to go around, and this is where things get really interesting, is about long-term commitment. It's about whether this marriage between player and team is built to last, or if we're watching something more temporary, something that's spectacular in the moment, but possibly short-lived. I'm not saying there's a done deal. I'm not saying anything is happening soon. But what I am saying is that the conversation has changed from "look at what we have" to "how long can we keep this?" And that change, as small as it might seem, is important. Think about it from every angle. From the player's point of view, he's performing at an MVP level. He's breaking team records. He's putting up numbers that demand maximum respect and maximum pay. He's in his best years. He's healthy, and he's got years of top basketball ahead of him. From the organization's point of view, they've got a squad that's competing right now. They've got championship hopes, and they've got to balance current success with long-term sustainability. These are the kinds of factors that create complex situations, the kinds of situations that don't always have fairy tale endings. I want to stress something crucial here. I'm positive about this team. I believe in what we're building. I think we have the pieces to make a serious championship run this season. But I also believe in being realistic with you, because you deserve more than just hype. You deserve analysis that thinks about all possibilities, even the uncomfortable ones. And the uncomfortable possibility that's starting to get attention is that we might be watching a rental rather than a great team being built. We might be experiencing something special that's designed to burn bright and fast rather than last over years. The effect of possibly losing this kind of production would be terrible. We're talking about someone who's averaging nearly 35 points per game. Someone who's running the offense at a top level with almost 9 assists per night. Someone who's helping on the boards, who's making everyone around him better, who's the engine that makes this whole machine run. You don't just replace that. You can't just plug in another player and expect the same results. That's not how basketball works. That's not how championship teams are built. And that's exactly why this situation is so delicate, so important, and so worthy of serious talk. Now, I've been around long enough to know that situations like this can go many ways. Maybe I'm reading too much into things. Maybe the whispers are just noise and everything works out perfectly. Maybe we get that championship. Maybe we get that MVP. And maybe this partnership continues for years to come. That's absolutely possible. And honestly, that's what I'm hoping for. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried. I'd be lying if I said the signs weren't there, suggesting possible problems ahead. What we need to understand is that this is bigger than just one player or one season. This is about the direction of the team, about the decisions being made in private meetings that will affect this team for years to come. This is about whether we're building something sustainable or just enjoying a brief moment of greatness before reality sets in. And from what I'm seeing, from the conversations I'm having, from the way certain people are talking about the situation, I think we need to be ready for any possibility. The timing of all this is especially interesting. We're in the middle of a season where everything is clicking. We're winning games. We're climbing the standings. We're looking like real title contenders. This should be the time where everyone is locked in, where everyone is focused only on the present and not worried about the future. But that's not always how it works in professional sports. Sometimes the success itself creates questions. Sometimes performing at a top level opens doors that were previously closed. Sometimes the best thing that can happen on the court leads to the most complicated situations off it. I want you to think about the bigger picture here. We're watching history being made. We're watching records fall that have stood for decades. We're watching a level of individual excellence that this team hasn't seen in a very long time. But with that excellence comes close looking. With that success comes attention. And with that attention comes decisions that need to be made about the future. These aren't easy decisions. These aren't black and white situations where the right answer is obvious. These are complex situations involving many people, many interests, and many possible outcomes. As I look ahead to the rest of this season, I see two clear possibilities happening. In one situation, we continue this amazing run. We make a deep playoff push, maybe even bring home championship number 18. And everyone is so thrilled with the success that any questions about the future get pushed aside. In that situation, we're celebrating rather than guessing. And this whole conversation becomes a small note about a weird moment in the middle of a championship season. I'd love nothing more than for that to be our reality. In the other situation, and this is the one that worries me, the questions that are being asked right now don't go away. They get louder. They become more constant. And finally, they lead to decisions that change the path of this team in ways we're not ready for. The truth is that we're in never-before-seen territory here. When was the last time a Lakers guard put up these kinds of numbers while breaking team records held by actual legends? When was the last time we had this mix of individual excellence and team success happening at the same time? The answer is that it's rare, incredibly rare. And that rarity itself creates complications. It creates situations where market forces and organizational decisions crash in ways that don't always favor keeping things the same, no matter how successful that same thing might be. Here's what I know for sure. Right now, in this moment, we have something special. We have a player performing at an MVP level, a team competing for championships, and a situation that every team in the league would love to have. What I don't know for sure is how long this lasts. What I don't know is whether the people making decisions behind closed doors are as committed to this long-term as the fans are. What I don't know is whether we're building a great team for years or experiencing a beautiful but short moment in Lakers history. As we move forward through this season, I'll be watching everything closely. I'll be paying attention not just to what happens on the court, but to the small signs that might show where this is all going. I'll be listening to the way people talk about the future, the way decisions are explained, the way possibilities are talked about. Because in my experience, the truth often shows itself in small moments long before the big announcements come. Before we wrap up, I need to hear from you. This is a huge situation that could define the next era of Lakers basketball. Do you think there's real reason to worry here? Are you worried about the long-term future, even with the current success? Or do you believe that winning fixes everything, and as long as we're competing for championships, nothing else matters? I really want to know what you're thinking, because this affects all of us as Lakers fans. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me if you think I'm overthinking this, or if you share the same worries I have. Let's have a real conversation about where this team is going. If you made it this far, you're exactly the kind of dedicated Lakers fan that makes this channel what it is. I don't do surface-level analysis here. I don't just repeat mock scores and tell you what you want to hear. I dig deeper because you deserve better than that. So, here's what I need from you. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because I'm bringing you these updates and analysis many times per week. Turn on those notifications so you never miss a breakdown of what's really happening with our team. And share this video with other Lakers fans who care about more than just highlights. We're building a community here of people who want real analysis, who want honest conversations, who want to understand the full picture of what's happening with this team. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are the best. We're doing awesome. Please subscribe if you like the videos. Thank you again. See you in the next one. Have an awesome day.